Power BI offers a lot of cool functionality to make your dashboards interactive. One of those ways is by creating buttons with pop-ups. This makes your dashboard feel a little bit more like an application or other things that your users may be using day to day. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to create one of those pop-ups to give your dashboard a little bit more of an application look. We're going to start by adding a button. So in this case, we'll create a blank button, and we are going to give the button a name called Show Details. We're going to give it a slightly darker color like the rest. We are going to remove the border and use the background and the visual border around it. Give it a little bit of rounded colors. Make the button white and also adjust the text a little bit to make it a little bit smaller. Now we have a nice little rounded button that says Show Details, and we want that button to do something. Now what we want that pop-up to do is we want to open up a rectangle, and in this case we'll be making it a slightly larger white rectangle like so. We'll turn off all the fill and border. We'll again give it a nice background, which is white. We'll give it some rounded rectangles and a white border. And on its own, this kind of just looks like a white screen. Now, what really gives it that pop-up theme is if we actually add another rectangle over the entire screen, give that a fill of, say, gray, and give it some transparency, 40% transparency. That kind of gives you that fade effect in the backgrounds, and then you want to bring the pop-up back to the front. So if you open up your selection tab, you can see all the different shapes, and normally it's best practice to give your shapes a little bit of names, and you can drag them up and down. So my pop-up is going to come up here. This gives us that pop-up feel. Now, once we have our pop-up set up, we're going to also want to close the pop-up. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding a button at the top. We're going to remove the styling, actually, and we're going to add an icon. You can add left arrows or other type of icons. I actually like using custom icons where you can download something like a cross. But feel free to use whatever you want to use. This is a little bit big. Sometimes I use slightly smaller icons, but this was something I quickly found online. Now, what's best practice in this case is all your pop-up elements should be in the same group. So what you want to do in your selection pane that we've opened up is you want to kind of group these all together, call it pop-up, and we have our naming conventions like this. Next up is how do we create that interaction of the pop-up opening? What you use for this is you use bookmarks, and we're going to have two bookmarks, which are basically two different views. The first is a bookmark that is pop-up open. The second is going to be one that's called pop-up closed. What's important here is that you make sure that the bookmarks only apply to the display. We don't want to do anything with the data. We also don't want anything to do with the current page, and we only want to do something with selected visuals. You're going to want to do that for both. We're now going to select the full pop-up group, and we're going to say updates on the pop-up open, and then we're going to hide it, and then we're going to select the full group and click updates on the pop-up closed. Now you'll see if I switch in between these two, you'll have the pop-up opening effect. Now we still want to trigger that on certain clicks. So what we want to trigger that on is first is we want to add it to this show details button. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be using an action bookmark, and then we want to open the pop-up. That means that now if we control click on the show details, we'll see that the pop-up opens, and there's two places that we want the pop-up to close again. The first being the close button where we have an action and we want the pop-up, the bookmark pop-up closed, and the second we also want it on the overlay. So we're going to have a bookmark navigation and pop-up closed. With that, if you click on the bookmark or the overlay, or you click on the X, that'll close your pop-up. Final thing is that we want to kind of just have a larger graph in our pop-up. So we're going to open up the pop-up, paste this graph in here, make it a little bit larger. Make sure to also add it to your group, and this allows you to now have a larger version of your visual, and you can do whatever you want with that visual. You can add some extra titles maybe, but in short, that is how you create pop-ups with a little bit more interaction in your Power BI reports.